This is Phillies Post-Game Live presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Phillies win game 1, 3-0, and you can put every cliche that you've heard from sports to work following this game. Rather be lucky than good. That's why they play the games. And there are no guarantees in sports. That's why they play them. And you know that's exactly what the Braves are saying now. Ricky Pitalico, Ben Davis, Ruben Amaro Jr., Tom McCarthy coming up from Atlanta in just a little bit. All the interviews you could want. This game was as huge as it was shocking. It was as big a win as it was a shocking win, Ricky Bo. We thought the Phillies would win, but not 3-0 against Spencer Strider.
No, the thing is, you stole that game. That was not the game the Phillies were supposed to win down in Atlanta. The game the Phillies were supposed to win down in Atlanta is coming up on Monday, and that's the game they're going to go up 2-0. I liked what I saw from Ranger Suarez. I thought he was good. I was shocked. I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that I agreed with anything that Rob Thomson did tonight, but it worked out. The bottom line is it worked out. I don't know if you would draw it up like this. I don't know if you would even think about doing it like this. But, I mean, the Braves went 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. They left seven runners on base. The Phillies battled through some tough times. There were some tough times in this game. I know everybody would look and say, well, the Braves didn't score. There were some innings where they had some big-time plays, and I'm going to throw the biggest one out there, a guy who struggled all season long in the field. That's got to be Trea Turner. That was a game-saving play. That ball goes through. You're talking about first and third with one out. Mm-hmm. This whole game could have turned around. Ben?
It didn't, Ben. He grabbed it and he tossed it over. They got the double play and they won the game. Go ahead.
Rob Thomson, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Rob Thomson, way to go!
Nice job,
oh, man. We're just a head scratcher, but it worked. This man has just an uncanny knowledge of this game and how it was going to move forward, and this relieving group, just phenomenal job. They threw strike after strike after strike, and what more could you ask for out of Ranger Suarez? We saw he looked a little disgusted, a little upset when he came out of that ball game and had every right to be so. But this bullpen came in and just did their job. A phenomenal job, a brilliant job, whatever you want to call it. And they got away with a couple really hurtful errors. One by Strider that came around to score later in that inning, and then the catcher's interference, E2 on a real Muto. But hey, the Phillies will take it.
Got it by the lace, Ruben.
Yeah, he did.
By the lace.
I'll go 3 for 3. I was really surprised that he was out of this game that early. I mean, he was really throwing the ball well, moving the ball around, throwing his breaking ball. He was outstanding. But I think Rob Thomson sort of must have had a plan, and the plan was to get him through a certain amount of innings and then go to his bullpen because he felt like he had enough off days to be able to rest them and to go ahead and start matching things up. And it ended up working beautifully. I do have to say, I mean, you had to be a little fortunate with how it ended up going. But I will tell you that I was really surprised. Couldn't believe it. Frankly, that he took him out of the game so early, but hey, it was just a fantastic job by the bullpen. And we talked about it earlier. I do believe, in my heart of hearts, that the bullpen the difference between these two teams is the bullpen, and it's clear to me that the Phillies bullpen is much stronger than it is the Atlanta Braves.
I understand that the initial plans for Monday, Zach Wheeler will be an opener on Monday.
Yeah, he's going to pitch 2 innings that hand off to the bullpen.
Let's go down to Atlanta. Check in with Taryn Hatcher, standing by with Bryce Harper. Taryn.
Bryce, I know it's such a cliche, but to get the first win down here in Atlanta under your belt, get that one taken care of, how important do you think that's going to be to this whole series?
No, it's huge. Anytime you can come into somebody else's park and win a game, it's big. Good starting pitching, great bullpen, good defense, timely hitting as well. That's a really, really good team over there. So to be able to come in here and steal one from them, hopefully, go right back at them on Monday and get another one.
I know Strider has pitched really well against you guys this season, and he said he was itching for the opportunity to get back here into the postseason and pitch again. What'd you see from him on that home run that allowed you to knock it out of the park there?
Yeah, he's really good. I mean, he's one of the best in the game right now, throwing his heater at the top of the zone, his slider and his changeup as well. I mean, one of the best strikeout, if not the best strikeout guy in the game right now. So we knew we had our work cut out for us, but just try to get at bats on him, Thought Bryson had a really good at bat right there, scoring our first one. And then just kind of trickled from there. But I thought we had really good at-bats on him tonight.
When you hit your home run, it felt like you could hear a pin drop in this stadium. What was going through your mind as you were rounding the bases? Because this was a grind for you guys this game.
Yeah, really excited to just get back to the dugout with my teammates. You know, they love to party in here, just like you guys know. So I'm just really excited to get back in here and share that with them.
And finally, I got to ask about the pitching from Ranger to start with to Orion, playing in the postseason here after he's playing in the minors not that long ago, and everyone in between. Just how huge was it to be able to shut out what's been such a potent offense all year?
Yeah, we can rely on them any day of the week. You know, Ranger coming out, nothing bothers him. You guys know how Ranger is. He's so, you know, smooth and just quiet with what he does, and he just pitches big game for us after big game. And then our bullpen came in and did their job in big innings. Sir did great. Stromer, huge play by Trea right there to turn that double play, and they had some momentum in that inning, so that was a big double play right there, and you know, Kimbrel came in and shut it down.
Bryce, congrats and thanks for the time.
Cool, thank you.
Bryce Harper, what a game. And don't mess with the Phillies in game 1 in the postseason. Certainly the last 2 postseasons, and going back 3 postseasons you've got last year, and all those wild card World Series, NLCS, DS, and the wild card game, and then going back to 2011, game 1 against the St. Louis Cardinals. You'd have to go back to 2010 before you'd see a game 1 loss to the San Francisco Giants. They've won 7 straight game 1s dating back to 2011. And we talk about better be lucky than good. We will talk ad infinitum about Topper and what he did tonight with regard to Ranger Suarez. The bottom line is it worked. We know how ticked Suarez was. He'll be available certainly a little bit sooner than he might otherwise have. But Ricky Bo, this is not a move that you would employ.
No, I thought Ranger was throwing the ball extremely well. He had only given up 1 hit at that point. There's no way I'm not even thinking about it if I'm the manager. There's not even a thought that's going through my mind that, hey, I better go take Ranger out of this game or else something bad's going to happen. Unless Rob had a nightmare last night that something woke him up in the 4th inning and said, you better take Ranger out in the 4th, because that's the only thing that I could think of. Because I don't know. I mean, it was an awfully strange move. You're putting a lot of pressure on your bullpen. And the reason why I say that is, I mean, you're talking about if you got to bring 6 guys or 5 guys in from your bullpen, what are the odds of none of them having an off night in that sense? I would have kept Ranger in there, but hey, it worked out in this game. That's all that matters. The Phillies got a couple breaks, but the one thing I will say about the Phillies, take away the pitching, is that they were running the bases. They are not taking anything. They're hustling.
5 stolen bases.
They're hustling.
Record.
I mean, to me, that's putting pressure on the other team. You think about Spencer Strider throwing the ball into the stands on a pickoff move. You know, the little things. And this is one of those games where the little things showed up. Although I guess Bryce Harper's home run probably would have been a game winner if it was just a 1-0 game. But, you know, just little things. And I liked what the Phillies did tonight. I liked how the bullpen pitched. You can't really say anything bad about them. Obviously, there was some traffic out there, but they pitched their way out of it.
When we were watching the game down here, it was kept in check because Rojas throws that ball to second base. On the deep fly ball by Olsen, he throws it to second base. Both runners were tagging up. Acuna was on second. He tagged up, obviously went to third base. But Riley went back to the first base bag to tag up and then moved to second base. Rojas throws it to second base, so therefore Riley has to retreat. He would have been thrown out. That double play is kept in check. Therefore, they're able to complete that double play.
That's right.
Yeah, a couple things. One, you have to admire how much trust that Topper has in his guys in the bullpen. And that's the thing that's been astonishing to me, is to give Orion the baseball in that situation. I mean, this is a kid that was pitching, 2 years ago, he was pitching in college baseball, or a year ago. Pretty amazing that he was getting that opportunity. And I thought it was also difficult for him, and Ben and I were talking about this as well, for him to have sat a long time in between innings to really sort of think about that. And then I thought it was sort of ill-advised to throw so many sliders against Acuna instead of going after him and starting off that inning with a walk. But that said, I mean, just the little things that the Phillies did. One of the reasons why they signed a guy like Trea Turner is because he's athletic. He steals several bases today. He makes that play, and maybe that play is not made by someone less athletic because, I mean, it was a bullet up the middle. Makes a heck of a play, even though he has struggled at times defensively. But the fact that he is so athletic, has the ability to get there, he starts a double play, and it basically saved the game, I think.
And if that goes through, it's a run in, then you're sitting with first and third again. I mean,
3-1.
I mean, it would not. It could have gone very badly.
A move as we look at the Phillies bullpen, and you look at earned runs on the third column from the left. Zeros down the board, and they use 6 relievers, including the former Brave Craig Kimbrell, to close it out, and they all pitched great.
Yeah, they sure did. A couple of things here, Michael, for me. One, he trusts his bullpen. 2, I think that they must have had a plan going in, knowing that they had some days off in this series. They could utilize as many of these guys in the bullpen as they wanted to. They typically do not do back-to-backs with some of these guys. So he said, you know what? I'm gonna use these guys as much as I possibly can. I think that's a strength of ours. And it ended up working out. I was surprised. I usually do not. I'm not surprised by what Rob Thomson does. But it's clear to me that this is something that was planned long before this game started. And he didn't really necessarily use the eye test with Ranger Suarez, because in my estimation, he was throwing the ball extremely well. He was moving it around the zone. He was throwing his breaking ball extremely well. He was throwing fastballs inside. We talked about it in the open, that he had to establish that fastball on the inside part of the plate, and he had a heck of a breaking ball going. So, I mean, this was a plan that was going to be executed, and they executed it perfectly.
All right, got to go back to the clubhouse. But here's the thing. We got to ask this question. You don't want to lose the trust of Ranger Suarez. Don't answer that, but I want you to think about it. To the clubhouse, and here's Bryson Stott on tonight's win.
What does it say about you guys? You just held a team that put up record offensive numbers to their first shutout at home all season.
The pitchers pitched well. They were throwing strikes and quality strikes, and every single one of them, we had all the confidence in the world they were going to make their pitch, and they did. So that was really cool.
What can you say about the play Trea Turner made at shortstop?
Whoa! I mean, I was kind of like whoa, and I was in the play. So no, that was really cool, and yeah, that's it. That was really cool.
How hard is it to flip it from how far away he was from the bat?
I mean, the backhand flip he did, you get a little more distance, and you could throw it a little harder. So I'm glad he did that instead of trying to do something else. And yeah, that was sick play.
How big is it to steal game 1 here?
Yeah, you always want to win game 1. Like I said, our pitchers were outstanding, and we got the hits when we needed them. So always good to get off on the right foot.
You and Rob took Ranger out. I mean, the entire fan base of Philadelphia questioned that move because he had such great stuff. I guess in Topper we trust, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's the one that's making the choices. So we never second guess it. And going into the off day, you know the bullpen will be rested. And I mean, it worked out, and they all threw well. So.
0-2 fastball from Strider. I think the first 3 were almost in that same exact spot. What was your approach in that situation with 2 strikes?
Yeah, I mean, he throws me a lot of fastballs. Throws everybody a lot of fastballs. But just facing him again and again, that's what he does, and it's an elite fastball. So my first at bat, I felt like I was on time for the most part, just underneath it, and my second at bat, just wanted to make sure I got to the top of the ball, and yeah, he threw one out over the plate that I was able to handle. So.
And then Harper's home run, I mean, he crushed it, I think, harder than anybody's ever hit a ball off Strider before. How impressed were you, and what was your reaction like?
Yeah, I think it was a slider.
Or, I'm sorry, slider.
Yeah. I mean, it was, like I said, it was up and out over the plate, and I mean, when he's up there, you want that pitch to be thrown sometimes, and I mean, he put a good swing on it. He probably hit it at 115, I'd imagine.
So. A little more 115, yeah.
You want that pitch to be thrown. You need that pitch to be thrown. When you look at the words, we stole this one, they stole this one, you really think they stole it, or they're just a better team? I don't want to use the steal word. They're just better.
They pitch better.
Yeah, they definitely pitched better in this game. And I wouldn't say they stole it, but they were an underdog coming into this game is what it means. And I guess when you're an underdog and you go into their building, which they were throwing bottles on the field, by the way, yeah, I guess you could say you stole it, but I mean, I think the Phillies are a better team right now.
I don't want to say that they stole it. I want to say they took advantage of the Braves' mistakes. and they outpitched them. They had 5 singles, did the Braves. You're talking about a team that hit the ballpark hit the ball out of the ballpark at an alarming rate the entire season. Set a major league record. But they had 5 singles tonight. The Phillies outpitched them, and they took advantage of mistakes. I don't want to hear that they stole it. The bottom line is they won. I don't care how I don't care if they had masks on and went with guns and they stole it. I don't care. They got the job done. They won the ball game tonight. They're up 1-0.
All right, let's pitching rules, man. Pitching rules all the time, every single time. And if it doesn't matter whether you're a great inning team or not. If the pitchers make their pitches and execute, you got a chance to win every time.
Right, but Ranger Suarez doesn't rule, at least except in his own mind, because his manager pulled him. So I'm sure Hoffman, Dominguez, Alvarado, Kirkring, Strom, and Kimbrel are saying, oh my goodness, it's fantastic. Ranger Suarez might not be saying that tonight. What happens the next time he goes out there?
I think he's going to be fine. And I actually saw, and we saw some of the clips, that, Rob Thomson was over there talking to him, and I think Diego Edegui was also there, translating a little bit. But I'm sure that Topper was telling him exactly what the plan was, why he took him out, probably telling him he did a heck of a job, and I think he's going to be fine. And also, Ranger may very well be ready to pitch in a lot more games. He may actually come out of the bullpen now. He has the ability to be able to do that, and perhaps that was part of the plan as well.
Is that how you sell it, pitch?
You could sell it however you want.
Will it work?
If you're a competitor, you're going to be absolutely livid that he took you out of this game, because I'm sure Ranger felt like, hey, I'm throwing the ball well. I'm putting the ball where I want to put it, and I give up 2 ground balls, and I'm getting taken out of the ball game. I mean, it's not like it was the 6th or 7th inning where you would the game was already shortened. This game was not shortened. You had to use 6 relievers after that. And I just go back to my main point. If you do this all the time and you throw 6 relievers out there, most of the nights somebody's going to have an off night.
You got to be perfect.
Somebody is going to have an off night
tonight.
Well, you look at Ranger, and is Ranger ticked off? Yes, he's ticked off.
But they won.
Does he have every right to be ticked off? Yes, he has every right to be ticked off. But at this time of the season, you're putting the team's victories above your personal feelings. So I guarantee you, Ranger, that shows that you're a competitor, that you wanted to stay in the game. I have no issues with that. I don't think anybody has any issues with that. But the bottom line is they won. I think Ranger's okay with it. He can still be ticked off about it. It's a human nature. You want to be out there as long as you can and go compete. That's what you do. You compete. But it didn't work out that way. Philly still won. I think Ranger's going to be okay with it.
All right, guess who else wanted to compete? Guess who else did compete? Guess who else we were a little worried about?
He's Superman.
Yeah,
he is Superman. I mean, it's amazing. He's a red light player as much as anybody in baseball. I've seen a ton of them over the years. He's as good as it gets, and it just keeps getting better. And he played an excellent first base today as well. I mean, he didn't have a ton of plays, but he had a bullet at the end of the game. He smothered it, made the play, and I'm still shocked that he made that transition so easily with it never playing an inning in the minor leagues or at any time in his career.
To what degree did Bohm batting behind him this series, or at least tonight, help, if at all? Bohm batted in front of him in the wild card series. Nothing?
I don't know if it helped him tonight. Bohm was 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. So.
Right. And Harper's not.
But Harper was 2 for 2. I mean, it's just.
And he's usually not that good.
But Harper he's that guy. And
yeah,
it's one thing to do it in other sports. If you lead a 4th quarter comeback in football, you pick a couple of receivers up, you're going to have some some incompletions. But in baseball, it literally is the hardest thing to do in sports. But yet he finds a knack to somehow produce in the fashion that he does. It's not that easy. But he makes it look that easy. And again, I've said this 1,000 times. There's a lot of guys that say, oh, I want to be up in that situation. Bryce Harper means it, and he produces. So that's like a double whammy for opposing pitchers.
You know, the other thing about Harper is, I mean, he's this iconic baseball player. Do we all agree with that? But when you watch him on the base pass, he's stealing bases. He's hustling everywhere. He's fielding a new position for his team. I mean, he's a guy that cares more about just his stats. He cares about everybody else in that clubhouse.
And one thing I will say about Alec Bohm is this. The fact that he's hitting behind him tonight did not necessarily help him, but I think the fact that he has been such a productive hitter over time, he had almost 100 RBIs. He's one of the best RBI guys they have, and situationally, he's usually their best. He struggled tonight, but that's one thing. That's one of the reasons I think why Topper puts him behind him, because he does protect him in some way, shape, or form. Not tonight. certainly. But I would expect Bomer to have much better at-bats in the future of this series. Speaking
of Topper, here he is post-game in the clubhouse in Atlanta.
How close to the script did you stick?
Well, really didn't have a script, but just can read the situation and how Ranger was. I thought Ranger was really good. Just thought right there on Ozuna that we'd stop the momentum, and he ended up walking Ozuna and getting the strikeout on Harris. But and Hoffy's been doing that for us all years, coming in dirty innings and getting out of it. So I just thought that was the time.
And can you address the two moments that seemed to, put out the fire, where Seranthony had 2 strikeouts to end his inning, and Trea Turner turned that double play?
Yeah, the Seranthony inning, he gives up a couple of solid base hits, but then he settled in and strikes out Acuna and strikes out Riley to end the inning. That was huge. Yeah, and the dive play by Trea in the 8th, I guess, to turn double play was unbelievable. Stopped me, nice turn. JT had a good throw and caught stealing. I thought we played pretty well defensively.
Corey? Rob, just this time of year, what sort of advantage does it give you guys to have that many high-leverage relievers that you feel comfortable going to in big spots?
Yeah, it's big, and especially with the off days, as I said before the game, we at least had the opportunity to be able to do something like that. But Ranger was really good, but I thought our relievers were really good, and whenever they got into trouble, they worked themselves out of it. So all in all, great job by our pitching staff.
And then what made Hoffman the guy in that spot, and was it a difficult decision at all to remove Suarez, given how he looked the first 3 innings?
Yeah, you hate to take a guy out. He's pitching well. He knows he's pitching well. But just because of the off days, it was Hoffman after Suarez, no matter what. It's just depending on, just want to make sure we got the right spot for him.
Come to the front here.
I guess your lineup's known for slug, but just the element of the game, the threat of stealing or being able to, just what that does for your lineup, your team.
Yeah, we can do a lot of different things, to score runs, and we've done it all year where we've scored by using our speed and some small ball, and we've also won games by slugging. So, and Atlanta can do the same thing, trust me. So, it's good combination to have.
And was it with Strider something that you thought you could capitalize on, pre-game game planning for him?
Yeah, it was just his times to the plate matched up with Murphy, and Murphy can throw, but matched up with his times to second base. We just had some good opportunities there.
On the right in the back.
Hey Rob, what can you say about Bryce Harper the night that he had against Strider on a night where he was really coaxing some ugly swings up there? I mean, he gets on base 4 times, has that home run.
Yeah, I mean, this is his time of year. This is where he kind of shines, and he's not going to do it every game, but he's come up with some big games for us and made a nice play there in the 9th inning as well at first base. So he doesn't get overwhelmed by the situation, that's for sure.
A lot was made of Trea in spring training, then during the regular season, then the resurgence. But it seemed like tonight was kind of like the quintessential Trea Turner, showing all the things that he could do and how, it's $300 million, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that looked like a $300 million player out there today.
Yeah, he did. And he's dynamic. And he's another one that the moment's not too big for him. And he's kind of rises to the moment for the most part. We didn't see that early in the year, but the latter part of the year and so far in the playoffs, that's the guy that we were thinking we were going to get.
Destiny?
Ranger looked disappointed when you were coming to the mound. Did that catch him off guard, and did you have to have a conversation with him after the game, and how is he dealing with that?
Yeah, we were contemplating whether to explain it to him before the game. We decided not to, but I explained it to him afterwards, and he understood. But he's a competitor, and he wants to stay in, and he knew how well he was pitching. So I get it. I'm okay with him being disappointed.
In the front Rob, to just take game one here and then know that you have Wheeler and Nola potentially going in 3 of the next 4 games if it goes the distance, just how important, beyond obviously wanting to win game one, was getting off to this sort of start?
Yeah, it's always important to win game one, but I think game two is pretty important too. It's kind of a swing game. And you can't let up at all against this ball club because they're good and they can attack and they can do a lot of good things. So we got to stay nose to the grindstone.
Take 2 more questions back there.
Rob, you mentioned contemplating telling him before the game. Can you just expand on that a little bit? It's obviously an interesting kind of psychological dynamic. I mean, what did you guys kick around, and what led to finally the way you?
Well, there's one thought is that you tell them that empty the tank early. Don't worry about going deep. Is that the best message to send them, or is it, hey, just go and pitch your game. Don't worry about it. Just pitch your game. So I decided not to tell him and let him pitch his game, and he did, and he pitched well, and then he's disappointed to come out. And all moves are scrutinized this time of year. I get it. If that didn't work out, it'd be scrutinized. So, but it is what it is, and you got to make the best decision in your mind that you need to make.
Final question here in the front.
2 things. Number one, I mean, you've got Wheeler and Nola going next. I mean, you must feel pretty good about that, number one. Number two, this team, you're a wild card team. You beat a historically good offense in their park. What is it about this team that just sort of like ignores all the stuff and, sort of perseveres and does what it can do? So first question, yes, I'm happy that Wheeler and Nola are going the next 2 games, but again, you can't take anyone for granted. I mean, those guys got to pitch and we got to play. The second part of it is this team, to a man, has this innate toughness to them and really resilient, and they just keep fighting. And as a group, they do the same thing. So it's a great combination of talent and makeup that we have on this club.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Thank you.
Rob Thomson, and as you heard, the bulk of the questions going to Thomson about Ranger Suarez and the fact that he pulled Suarez in the 4th inning when he was pitching great. The one thing he was asked twice was whether or not he explained his strategy to Suarez prior to the game. He said he thought about it, but he elected not to. There's 2 ways you can do it. 1, you tell him empty the tank early, or 2, you tell him pitch your game. He didn't do any of that. He just let him pitch his game. He was pitching great, but it's the postseason. He said, I know I would have gotten nitpicked or criticized big time if it didn't work, but it did. You got to live with it.
It's when you think of it as a pitcher, I guess if I was told, hey, you know what, first sign of trouble, you're out of the game, I mean, I think you'd start getting nervous in the 1st inning. So I look at it this way. It's obviously he didn't tell Ranger anything because Ranger was not happy coming out of the game. But I guess in the long run, if you go up to him afterwards, hey, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to lose focus if something started to go wrong, which would be fine too. There's so many different doors to open on this.
Yeah, but the fact is, next time Ranger takes the mound in a start, and no doubt will, and by the way, if it's here at Citizens Bank Park, he'll get an ovation just like Trea Turner got August 4th, as he deserves. But what happens for Ranger the next time he goes out there? Is he looking over his shoulder?
That's what I was going to say. The last thing you want to do is throw a pitch and go like this. That's the last thing you want. I think you have to put it in the rear view and just go out and pitch your game. Easier said than done. I understand that, but listen, the bottom line is it worked tonight. Ranger's not a guy, I think, that goes out there and thinks a whole lot. I think he just gets that sign, he throws every pitch or tries to throw every pitch with conviction. That's what you saw tonight. I don't think you can go out there and really second guess yourself or as to when you're going to come out of a ball game. That's the worst thing you can do. It's kind of like being on deck and kind of looking over your shoulders. Is manager going to pinch hit for me? You just have to have all your focus on that one particular at bat and each and every pitch. That's what you have to do on the mound as well.
So was he lucky or good, Skip?
I think it was a combination of the two. I mean, and I think that Ranger, this is not going to affect him. Ranger just goes out and pitches. I've known him long enough to know and watched him how he goes about his business. This is a guy who believes in himself. He's got a ton of confidence in himself, and frankly, he pitched his rear end off. So I mean, he's got to be very happy about how he pitched, and especially with the stuff that he had. I was particularly pleased by like the overall stuff because the breaking ball was excellent and he threw his fastball where he wanted to. And when he does that, he can be one of the most effective pitchers in baseball. And we saw that in the postseason last year. I mean, the guy had like a 1 ERA in the postseason last year and in the tightest spots in baseball. And, I don't think he's going to lose any focus. I don't think he's going to lose any confidence. I think he'll be just fine.
All right, take us through that play. How'd you do that?
Keep it simple. Just catch the ball and get it to start as fast as possible. I just wanted to, get an out, and then realized, Stott's really good over there, and just the way Albie's got out of the box, we had a chance. So it was a big play.
Was it always going to be a flip, or did you think about throwing?
No, flip. We've been talking about kind of that play the last couple weeks, not necessarily the dive, but being far away from the bag and when to flip, when to throw, and stuff like that. And so we've been talking about it, but that one was always going to be a flip.
Did it feel particularly good, considering earlier in the game you couldn't get it out of your glove?
Yeah, tough play, ran a long ways. If I had to do that one over again, I'd probably try something different, but just the way the ball bounced and whatnot. But just keep your head up, keep going. You don't know what's going to happen. And you don't know what play is going to be the difference.
Did you hear the reactions from JT said he screamed, he thinks.
Oh, I was screaming. I didn't hear anybody, so I was screaming. And you could feel it was a big moment, just with them in the middle of their lineup and guys on base, and a little momentum. You could feel the moment, so it was good. We got out of that one.
You had a couple steals as well on that play, getting on base. I mean, how good do you feel right now? Just kind of who you are.
Hey, play baseball. I've always talked about doing all 3 phases of the game, running the bases, playing defense, hitting. So sometimes you're good at it, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you do all of them, sometimes you only do one, whatever it may be. But you look for those opportunities. You play baseball, and like I said, I think the last few games the stolen bases have been there. Just the opportunities, not necessarily me stealing, but the opportunities have been there. Made the plays that I've needed to. So we're trying to win this time of year. It doesn't matter who does what.
You guys feel you had some opportunities to run today, maybe put some pressure on Strider?
Yeah, I mean he's most velocity guys, power pitchers, are a little slower to the plate, and we knew that. But Murphy's really good catch and throw guy as well. So you take your chances, you try to pick your spots and whatnot, but you still got to be pretty good. You can't just run free will over there, because I think maybe JT got thrown out or somebody got thrown out today. So I mean that's baseball. You take your chances, and you hope they pay off.
It's just one game, but what does it mean to take this game here tonight?
Yeah, big. I think it's I don't think any game's more important than the next, but it's just nice winning the game that's in front of you. And today we had this one, so especially when you have a lead and you're up and you feel like you can win it, I think it's nice to close it out. Our bullpen was great today. Ranger was great as well. So our pitching staff really did the job, and it was a good game one for us.
The Braves put up ridiculous record-setting offensive numbers to shut them out in their own ballpark. What does that say about your staff?
Yeah, I mean, we knew going into this year that we could do a lot of different things as a team. Our pitching staff's carried us at majority of the season probably. Early on we weren't hitting good, and they were keeping us in games, so we expected out of them. They're really good out there, and I think the confidence out there has been really good the last 2 months or so, and we've been playing good baseball. So I know they're a really good team, but we are too.
To watch Ranger Suarez pitch tonight was to watch near perfection. Walked the guys, you can see, struck out 4, gave up that 1 hit, and other than that, he was just awesome.
He was awesome.
Pulled in the 4th inning. He looked in complete control. 53 pitches, and here he is with his translator, Diego Atedgi, in the Phillies clubhouse.
Said from the get-go that he was going to be pretty aggressive with the bullpen today. How does that, I know JT mentioned it changed his preparation for Ranger. How does it change Ranger's preparation?
¿A ti te cambió tu preparación algo cuando Thomson dijo que iba a ser agresivo con el bullpen?
No, yo fui allá a hacer mi trabajo y la hora que ellos quisieran sacarme iba a estar preparado. Yo siempre me preparo para estas cosas para que no me tomen de sorpresa.
No, I didn't change anything about my preparation. I just went about my business the same way I always do. And they did talk to me about it, so I was ready to come out of the game anytime they wanted me to come out of the game.
Didn't seem too stoked when Dick come out though. Did just feel like there's still some left in the tank there, or just the competitor in him kind of thing.
Él ya sabe que no te viste obviamente contento cuando te sacaron, si era porque todavía tenías gasolina ahí en el tanque, pues.
No, obviamente cuando yo voy allá yo quiero lanzar los innings, o sea, ir más profundo en el juego, pero obviamente no iba a estar contento porque fueron 3 innings 2 tercios, pero nada, mira, dejamos la mano en el bullpen y el bullpen hizo tremendo trabajo hoy.
Yeah, I mean, it was only 3 innings and 2 thirds. When I get on the mound, I want to go deep in the games. That's what I expect out of myself. But I mean, we turned it to a bullpen. They did a great job, so we can't really say anything about it, or anything bad about it.
Rob actually said that they deliberated before the game about whether to tell you how short your outing was probably going to be, and he decided against it. Do you think he made the right decision? I mean, would that have changed anything if they...
Dice que Thomson les confesó a ellos que él no se atrevió a decirte qué tan corto, qué tan largo va a ser tu apertura, porque dijo que era mejor no decirte nada. ¿Tú crees que si te hubiese dicho, hubiese cambiado algo tu preparación o algo?
No, yo creo que estuvo perfecto, porque cuando tú eres abridor y te dicen esas cosas que vas, o sea, no vas tan profundo en el juego, o sea, no vas con esa agresividad, esa pasión de lanzar, sino que vas ahí, entonces en cualquier situación te sacas. Entonces yo creo que lo hizo perfecto porque, o sea, me dejó concentrarme como si fuera a lanzar 7 innings o 8 y
No, that was perfect. The way he did it was perfect because, like I know myself as a competitor, we would have taken me out of my preparation zone or comfort zone, whatever you want to call it, because like as a starting pitcher, you want to go deep in games, So if I had known that it was going to be a short outing, it probably would have taken some energy out of me.
And then against this.
And certainly the Phillies and the fans didn't want that. To Tom McCarthy, the voice of the Phillies outside the clubhouse in Atlanta. Tommy, when you look at the Braves being the 3rd team to be shut out in the first playoff game opener since 1969, and just the 3rd team to be shut out that had led baseball in runs scored, the 1935 Tigers and the 2001 Seattle Mariners. That's rare air, and the Phillies were responsible for that. What do you think of this game? 3-0 in the postseason.
Well, honestly, Michael, I think the manager had a heck of a night tonight. This is a strategy that you don't normally see in a regular season game. I really think, at the end of the game, if it had gone the other way, there would have been a lot of questions for Rob. But he certainly earned his cash tonight. I mean, he was unbelievable with the way he managed this bullpen. And I also think that hats off to everybody in this bullpen because they got themselves into some tough spots, but they did not wilt at all. I mean, they were able to get themselves out of it. I mean, it was a championship-style bullpen tonight, and I think that was a really big deal and will be a really big deal going forward.
Tom, this was a great win tonight for the Phillies. I mean, you go down to Atlanta, you win a big game. I mean, but one thing for me that's going to stick in my mind is that play by Trea Turner in the 8th inning. I know he had a hit, a couple stolen bases, everything, but that play in the 8th inning, I mean, that's going to be one of those plays we see over and over again if this team should go on and win this. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Ricky, there's no doubt. Scott Fransky on the radio said it was the play of the year, and it was. It was the defensive play of the year. I mean, it was just amazing to see how he was able to keep his hand-eye coordination steady to be able to start that. And I also thought, now the ball was hit hard, but I also thought you saw an indication of how Bryson Stott has worked extremely hard with the exchange at second base. Now, it was somewhat routine once it got to Bryson, but the fact that he was able to get it over quickly, those are the kind of emotional plays that drive a team to a championship. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's just incredible to see how quick he was to the glove side to make that play and to start it. It was incredible. I mean, there were so many big moments in this game. That play, Sir Anthony with his strikeouts, whoever it was dropping that behind me and able to pick it back up quickly. I mean, all these things were huge in tonight's game.
Tommy, he was asked, did you think you were going to throw it, gather yourself and throw it overhand over to Bryson, or had you planned on the flip? He said, I planned on the flip. That's how he knew it like that. I don't know.
We've seen two very athletic things during the course of this postseason. We saw that, and also Nick Castellanos somehow sliding into second and putting his ring finger up instead of his middle finger in a matter of seconds. Those are two very athletic things.
Without a doubt, T-Mac. If I'm facing a guy that sits just under 98 miles an hour with a fastball, but yet I somehow hit a slider, first pitch slider out to right field, is there any limit to what Bryce Harper can or can't do?
No, I mean, there's certain guys that lock in certain situations, Ben, and he has the ability to lock in. I mean, it's just incredible that in his mind, I actually think he was going up thinking. I think he was going up thinking about that. Now, he may not have, but it just looked like that with his swing. Pretty incredible. I mean, he's faced them a lot during the course of his career in this short period of time. So I think he has an understanding. And maybe he saw the way he pitched Schwarber previously, where he started him off with something a little soft instead of starting off with a fastball. Maybe that helped. Maybe he read that going up.
Tom, talk a little bit about the aggressiveness on the base pass. 5 stolen bases, franchise record.
Love it. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, Ruben, here's the thing. At the beginning of this postseason, Rob Thomson said we have to work on a couple things. We have to work on our pickoffs, to work on our defense. And he said, guys, when there's a ball in the dirt, I want you to be aggressive and I want you to take the extra base. And we are going to capitalize on the stolen base. Strider allowed 19 of 21 stolen bases coming into this game, which was one of the worst records in all of the National League. They knew that going in, and Murphy's a really good thrower, but I think you have to take advantage of these situations, and they did. I love the aggressiveness. I think it turns the tide in the ball game.
Tommy, thank you. We'll talk to you Monday. Have a great Sunday. I want to hear all about it.